Hey folks, R2R coming at you from Delhi, Ohio. This was something I thought was important to get out. A little bit ASAP. It's not really that urgent, but it's something that is really disturbing to me. And I'm just going to read through this to get through it once. I'll pause and let you give it a second of thought, and then I'm going to make a comment and then go into the details to support my comments. This is in the Facebook page of the Delhi Township Administration in the About section, Privacy and Legal Information. This site is intended to provide valuable information regarding Delhi Township and what's happening in the community. Please note, if you post a comment the Township deems inappropriate, including those that contain profanity, personal attacks of any kind, or comments that could be considered offensive to members of our community, the content will be deleted. The Township also reserves the right to delete comments that are spam or include links to other sites, are considered excessive posting, and or are items that are clearly off topic or advocate illegal activity. Delhi Township reserves the right to block any user who repeatedly posts offensive or prohibited items. Please contact the Township Administrative Office at 513-922-3111 if you have any questions. I think they're talking about I think you can call that number if it pertains to any Delhi business. So what do you think about that, folks? Comment in the comment section down below. But wait, let me tell you what I think about it. High level. It's vague, it's subjective, it's written in ways that can be selectively enforced, it's oppressive, and dare I say, it's evil. Let's go into it. If you post a comment that the Township deems inappropriate, so when I read this and I see it including this, that, and the other thing, I read the including as in addition to this. So the way I read this is that if the township deems it inappropriate, that's all that's required for the content will be deleted. But it's that including those that contain profanity, personal attacks of any kind. So an elected official like the trustees, let's say that there's two candidates running for a trustee position, and you absolutely hate the policies of one of those candidates for trustee. So you post about their policies, and they take those posts about their policies, or the township deems them personal attacks because you're attacking the policy of a person. Personal attacks of any kind. Oh, that guy sucks because his policies are horrible. Or, hey, that guy's policies really suck. Is that a personal attack? Very subjective, very vague, open to different interpretations. I think 3 people read this, they're going to enforce it 3 different ways. Or comments that could be considered offensive. So they're not only going to delete content that's offensive, which in and of itself would be offensive to me. If you're deleting content simply because you think it's offensive, that offends me. But here it's even worse. They're going to delete content that's considered offensive to members of our community. So I'm a member of the community. If me and my buddy report to you that we're offended by some kind of comment, and you all say, that's not offensive, and we say, well, it could be, because you can take about any comment and make a case that that's offensive to somebody. And this isn't just offensive speech, this is speech that could be offensive. Based on what? 7.9 thousand community members? Or 30,000 Delhesian residents? Or is what this is really saying is that it's a government employee's interpretation of what they think the community, members of the community would think would be possibly could be considered offensive. Sorry about that. I screwed that up. Check this out. This ain't no better. They also reserve the right, so that you're reserving the right to delete comments that are spam or include links to other sites. So when you reserve that right, and there doesn't really articulate the details of when you exercise that right, it really leaves it to subjective enforcement, selective enforcement, and allows you, based on these rules, this info, to selectively enforce the narrative you don't agree with and leave up the narratives that are sunshine and rainbows. And I tell you right now, there are comments in there currently with links to other sites. Considered excessive posting and or items that are clearly off topic. We're going to look at that one in a minute. I'm all for, if it's illegal activity, pull that crap down. The High reserves the right to block any user who repeatedly posts offensive, or prohibited items. Now here's the problem with this as well. So you post an item, nowhere in here when they start deleting your post do they say they're going to notify you, warn you, give you a chance to change and update it because it's an innocent mistake. Nowhere in here does it say you're going to have any kind of due process, no kind of appeals process, nothing like that. Just the whims of a consolidated power structure where unilaterally, possibly one individual employee is going to decide whether something's offensive or not and representative for all these members of the community. Now let's look at some of the things that are getting posted here. Let's go to the mentions. And these look like they're citizens to me. And you can see here immediately that in this area, this goes from Christmas trees to this private citizen looks like is talking about unpermitted culverts to all kind of different topics. So I'm assuming that there isn't a topic yet. You have to stay on topic in this whole section. So I'm guessing what they must mean is that if you're commenting on something someone already posted that isn't topic restrictive, apparently, unless it's considered offensive or something, that within this and you comment, you have to stay on this topic. That's what I'm thinking. But let's look at the other condition that was set up where they reserve the right to delete comments that are spam or include links to other sites. Now I read that two ways. One is, let's go into it. Let's look at this post right here. We don't have to go down far. And just by highlighting this, we can see GardenGroveDelhi.com. That's an external site. It's a com. It sounds like it's a company. It's a private site. And it's an external site. So you say, oh, that's in the card. That's not in the body. Well, here you have another external site, depending on how you interpret it. You click into that. It takes you to a Facebook page. Is that an external site? Because if not, I'll post all my offensive stuff on my Facebook page, and then I'll just link to it in the comments like this person did, if you're not considering that external. But even if you do consider that one external, you still got this one external up here, and you got it repeated down here where it's actually in the body, an external link. Now, I bet they don't mind this comment. Nothing against government narrative in here. It's all pretty much sunshine and rainbows, right? So, yeah, on this one, they reserve the right to delete this comment, but in practicality and exercise, they rejected exercising that reserved right to delete this comment. Are they going to reserve the right and not exercise it when I post something to my YouTube channel? Or is this private company privilege? And then these links down here, new build condos, still in Facebook. Is this or this is not considered an external site? I do not know. They're not very clear about it. And so these are the things that offend me. There is more to this. It's just early in the morning. I haven't slept all night, so I'm pushing it. But I thought this was one I want to get out pretty quickly. A lot of this, I'm missing a lot of things, but I definitely it's vague. It's open to subjective enforcement, and it's open, and it's a form of censorship. It's a form of oppression. It's a speech that is offensive, that should be defended. And how do you... So now when you want to say something that would offend somebody, or that the community might be... Because let's say somebody posts something that's about Delhi Park. Oh, Delhi Park is gorgeous. And I say an honest post, and I say, well, what about all that trash I found up there and posted on my YouTube channel, where trash was, in essence, all over the place? As a community member, I might be offended. If somebody said that, I might be offended. Not at the person saying it per se, especially if they're telling the truth, but I might be offended at the situation and therefore the post itself. Should that person's post now get banned because, some folks are offended by it? Radical stuff, folks. This is radical stuff right here. Unfortunately, it's the norm in the society we live in with these radically evil government agents. But I just want to point out as I end this here, none of this is legal advice, but the township itself is asking you to contact them at this phone number, 513-922-3111, if you have any questions. And I believe they're referring to this. I'd like to point out, number one, that none of the callers, none of the people that comment in my section are commenting on my behalf, nor do they represent me in any way, shape, or form, nor do their comments represent me or my thoughts in any way, shape, or form. I speak for myself. I also encourage folks, if you are going to reach out, that you not do anything illegal. I do not condone any types of threats or any types of violence or illegalities. I don't suppress Serenity Now either. I don't know if anyone saw the Seinfeld episode. That's what this reminds me of. Serenity Now, nothing offensive, nothing kind of negative, and nothing that goes against the narrative. Serenity Now. And what happened by the end of, don't show your true emotions. Just do the Serenity Now. And what happened at the end of that episode? Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Excuse me. The guy went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And that's what's going on here, is what you're doing is you're taking what should be articulations by the citizens of complaints and voices of grievances and providing valuable information that's both positive, negative, offensive, and non-offensive. That's what it should be doing. And what's happening in the community. Sometimes there's things that when you say what's happening in the community, it's going to be offensive. It just is. Sometimes somebody might fart near me, right? And I might even laugh. And then I might smell that fart later and be offended. Should that person now receive some kind of punitive damages because their fart offended me? Not the best analogy, but it starts showing the radicalness of censorship based on offensiveness. Because offensive speech is speech that I thought we paid these folks to protect. And maybe they do have the right to do all this BS stuff, in my opinion. But that tells me the law is wrong. And we know, if you've been following what's going on, not on my channel, but following in general, you know that the laws locally are often not compatible with our rights or our federal and even our state constitutions. It's unfortunate you have to have money and a lot of time to hire someone with the legal acumen, with the legal knowledge and ability to go out and give us rights that are being supposed to be being protected by these folks, but instead are being oppressed. Selective enforcement, vague, and in my opinion, this Shiite is evil. So I encourage anyone, not legal advice, but I believe that they are asking you to call them if you have any questions. You know, you heard my questions. I'd be interested why they're oppressing, why they're blocking just offensive speech, and what are the parameters around this? How do you determine that the members of our community could be considering it offensive? Or is it one individual that makes a determination that our community could consider it offensive? Radical stuff. Here's the other thing, is I believe you not only have a right to make that phone call to them, you have a right to come onto this Facebook page, as I understand it, not financial advice, these are just my thoughts for educational purposes, and you have a right to go into videos and start posting replies, posting comments, writing a comment to various videos and things like that, quote unquote, within their guidelines. You can do it in this section in the video. You can go into the mentions and add comments down here. And I would just encourage folks to do what you think is the right thing. And if you don't know what the right thing is, get a little advice and stay within the law. Now I can tell you it's always shabby stuff with the Delhi Township, in my opinion. It's possible that you actually get pre-approved to do this stuff. You might call them up and say, "Hey, can I make a post on your webpage?" And they might say yes, and then you make that post and they punish you for it. Because that's what I understand has been happening to me time and time again, is I got pre-approval on something. Like, hey, am I allowed to chalk on the public sidewalk? And they say yes. And then I do that. And then it's mentioned in my trespass letter. That's all I'm going to have today, folks. There's your number. If you want to call, 513-922-3111. And let me get you a better number if I can. Let me see if I can get you a better number. And again, you can post on this website as far as I understand. Let me get you the head honcho's phone number, because he's probably the one that, if that policy is going to change or that whatever info, he's the one that's going to make it happen. So let's see if we can track down his information. We're going to Delhi, Ohio Township. We're grabbing into that government area. And let's see. Administration. Are we going to find Skyler Miller in here? Let me try one more thing. Yeah, I'm not going to find a Skyler email for a while. He stopped. He kind of goes to me on the email. Let me get back to the Township website and see if we can find his phone number in here somewhere. See, search Skyler Miller. Here we go. Skyler Miller contact information. So it doesn't look like he has a phone number listed here. The other thing I'd ask you is, if you do call that number, be nice. Nothing illegal. Lori's a nice person. I don't always agree with what she said, and she's had her mean times toward me, but I don't wish anyone to do any, giving her a hard time. Skyler Miller, I'm not saying give him a hard time either, but I think you would be legal, not legal advice. But I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to copy the email address and I'll go ahead and post it here. And if you want to email this person is the Township administrator. I think he probably has a hand in, and he is the authority, as I would understand it, to possibly change that policy, or if not, he would be the individual, I believe, that would take it to the trustees who could change that policy. And we're going to call that a wrap here. I'm going to get this out just because I thought it was important that this one needs to get out right away. And thanks everyone for watching. I have a lot of passion about this stuff. And when I see stuff like that, it isn't just the oppression of the speech that bothers me. It's my understanding of where that oppression leads to. Human suffering, people suffering, families getting torn apart, poverty. And if you ain't connecting the dots for all this stuff, I understand that. And the overarching theme is that when government starts oppressing your speech and you can no longer voice grievances to government, or you can no longer say offensive things in what is in essence kind of like a town square or the social media town square, and you can't say offensive things, or you can't say, the things we walk through, that starts leading, as it escalates, into greater oppressions. And it's bad stuff, folks. It's bad stuff that results in more serious rights. Not to undermine how serious this is, more serious rights getting taken away. And so when I tell you that I heard from Skyler Miller's direction or whatever, that I heard, or what I thought I heard him say, and in my own mind there's no doubt about it, what I heard was him say, with all due respect, the First Amendment is not a priority in Delhi. And I'd almost quote that. I'm 99% sure. And maybe I'll be 100% sure. I can't reveal all that at this time. So when I hear that, and I got the police chief telling me that he thought that I was being honest when I said that I heard that, and something similar from Lieutenant Rich as well. That's on video. And then I see this. It gives, the policy of oppression is what I call it. It just gives me very little faith. It's going to take a whole lot of screaming to get that updated. And so, there you have it, folks. Thanks for watching. Thanks for caring. Thanks for any efforts you're putting in to get this, what I think needs to be a correction. Thanks for caring and doing any efforts you put in. If you want to make that phone call, that's on you. If you want to send that email, that's on you. I don't have a lot of faith that anything here is going to change, but I think the more people that make both those contacts, if you want, because you can both call in and email as far as I understand it, that the more of that happens, the greater chance no hope in my mind becomes a little hope. So I'm just looking for a little hope that enough people reach out that Skyler's at least willing to reconsider, at a minimum, reconsider what I'm saying and what the folks calling in are saying, and what the Constitution is saying, not just the federal but the state as well, and whether that's really right. that all you have to do is deem a comment inappropriate and you start taking it down, no due process, no notice, nothing. That you might delete comments that could be considered offensive. Okay, folks, sorry for going into circles. We're going to call that a wrap right now. I'm out of here. Thanks. If you feel like it, like, subscribe. If you feel like it, contact your friend that you know is already subscribed and tell them to unsubscribe. Or if you want, call your other friend and tell them to go ahead and subscribe because you know they're not subscribed. But either way, whether you subscribe or not at this time, it's really not a focus of mine. I just started putting subscribe in some of my things, but I hear people say it so much that have channels that, hey, it's kind of cool to say. Whatever. Y'all have a good time, good day, stay safe, and I wish y'all the best.